Welcome to another Quantum Conversation. I'm Loren Gailey, and I invite you to sit back as we enter the quantum realm, that space of the greater part of you. It is your connection to infinite possibilities, infinite potential, and infinite mastery. Welcome, beautiful hearts. We have another beautiful episode in our Quantum Conversation Summit Series, Energy, Healing, and Well-Being. And today we're talking about boundaries, energetic boundaries. And my guest is a beautiful light worker and actually a spiritual warrior who is here to help people tune in to their divine plan on earth. She's got a remarkable story, her own journey of overcoming so much adversity in her life, but yet this adversity is actually what brought on her superpowers and helped her fully step into the brilliance of who she is today. She's here to help all of us as we talk about energy boundaries and space clearing. Beth Rachel is with us. Hi, Beth. Thank you so much for being here. Welcome.
Hi, Lauren. Thank you for such a warm and concise welcome. I always have a hard time putting my story together like that. So thank you.
Yes, and so we do this every time we're with you, and we're gonna leave plenty of space for energy boundaries and space clearing today. But again, your personal story is one that so many have found inspirational and being of assistance for them in their life. And so here it is. I mean, it was one where some would probably just crumble under the circumstances. I would like our audience to scroll down on this webpage and read Beth's bio. I'm going to just say the first 15 years of her life, she calls herself a soldier of light, as she received an Earth grid activation, and she has been working with the White Hats, and to her, they are the Light Workers Network Alliance, where she connects with her galactic family and inner earth healers. And this is because for the first 15 years of her life, she was, wow, in a serious sexual trafficking. This gets really deep and dark. And so, without going back into that, I know we could, but we're here to share the light. I just want to say it's remarkable that you healed from that, that you transcended that. How did you do that? I know you had help from the inner earth beings, but this is so remarkable. Can you share that with us for those who are new to you?
Yeah, I did have help from the inner earth beings. I also had help from my galactic family. And I also had a really strong sense from my own soul um, of the direction to keep going and to trust that my soul had a greater plan than just all this suffering, right? That there was a bigger plan for supporting Earth in transitioning back into a place of empowerment. And so all of humanity back into a place of empowerment. And as I began stepping into my awakening process, I was in my late teens when I really started going into my own awakening journey and receiving readings from intuitives and learning how to do them myself, doing dream work, crystal work, tarot, just opened up the box, right? And some of my own memories started to come back in my early 20s, and I needed some new tools. So I was constantly expanding my tools for supporting my awakening process. And that included studying things like theta healing, intuitive skills and resources, somatic skills, medicine, plant medicine. And so this course, really about energy boundaries and space clearing, has been really fun for me to create, because it's allowed me to pull from all of that. And educate people in that the primary place that we all have our sovereignty, right? The reason we have sovereignty is that we are all a piece of source energy. And when I really got that in my own journey, that's really what gave me the strength to keep moving forward and heal, was to understand that there was nothing greater than that. There was nothing greater than that connection and then the desire, right, to shift and change. And also understanding that our world works like a mirror. So, what is happening, showing up in our lives, is often a reflection of something that wants to get cleared out for us in our inner world on our inner journey of awakening. So, understanding that as well was really helpful so that when something would show up in my outer world, I could go, oh, what is this showing me? What is this reflecting to me? And I kind of came to that through some Buddhist practices and meditation practices, and again through theta healing and some other things that I studied as well, reinforced that. So that will also be part of the course, among many other things.
Yes, we're excited about the course. Okay. And we're going to talk about that, and creating boundaries is really important when we're talking about energy and our energy. And so I'm just intrigued. I'm intrigued by your story and the secret government programs that you were involved in. This was when you were a child and up until 15 or so years, right?
Yes.
And so your parents, what were they involved with this? Did they allow this to happen? Um, and how did you get out and end it all, get rid of it?
Yeah. So most of this type of trauma is generational. Uh,
Okay. They were
yeah,
tracking your bloodline.
exactly what I was going to say is that the government and the secret programs are tracking bloodlines that they know certain abilities have showed up in the past, right?
Yeah.
So they're looking for those active abilities within the DNA. So they're tracking the DNA. Um,
Wow.
so Yeah, so the trauma follows the bloodlines too, right? So there's often a lot of ritual abuse and suppression because within that, there is the we own these abilities, not you, or you need to be punished for these abilities, but then we're extracting them from you and getting you to use them. So there's a lot of warped perceptions that end up happening and a lot of inversions of truth through all of this type of abuse. And it's really unfortunate, but it is the underbelly of what is happening here on Earth that's creating so much of what we're all looking to ascend or transcend, right? And so, no matter how closely it's affecting you, whether it's something, really personal, like for me, or you're seeing it in your community, or you're seeing how it connects through media, perhaps. You're getting, or politics, but you're connecting the dots and you're seeing it. So it's touching all of us in some way or another. And so, just another reason, right, to work on our energy boundaries, work on how do we clear space, and really that ownership of this is my temple, this is my space, this is my space beyond my physical body, this still is my space, and I get to decide what's in it and how I work with what's in it. And yeah.
Yeah, okay. So as you began to go back to yourself and learn these modalities, learn ascension tools and healing techniques, that really assisted you and brought these psychic abilities back in line for you. Did your parents, so it's all generational. Did your parents, were they aware of this? Were they allowing this?
Not
How did you
consciously.
break?
Yeah,
Not,
not consciously. So there's, a lot of dissociation within this type of trauma, and there's what's consciously happening and what's unconsciously happening. So unconsciously, yes. consciously know. Um, yeah, so a lot of major dissociation. And if you were to ask them, they'd be like, I don't know what you're talking about. Beth's crazy, which is very common in these types of situations, even when you're not taking it to the extremes of like government abuse, but just incest. Most families will deny, oh, your dad never did that. That never happened to you. It's really unfortunate, right? So it also creates more fortifying within us to have to support our own truth and our own knowing. And I've been fortunate enough to do that within myself so that I can support others who've been through these experiences that are going, I don't know, I think maybe I'm crazy, but this is what's coming up. And I could say, no, you're not crazy. This stuff does happen. And it's a lot to shoulder two realities. There's a lot of cognitive dissonance within it at first, but then we learn to integrate it and we see the whole of what's happening. And as we become more whole, the whole planet, right, becomes more whole, not to overuse the word, right? But as we are that reflection, I explain it like we're each a cell of the planet. So the healthier we are as a cell, the more conscious we are as a cell, right? The more healthy and conscious the whole of the planet is, right? So by doing our own inner work, each of us is bringing a great gift to humanity. And for me, I was able to get out because I had contact with the light the whole time and was able to get their support to start navigating my way out. It did cost me some things. It did cost me some contact with the light. It did cost me some of my memory that I had to get back later. Um, and it did cost me encapsulating some of my abilities and really becoming more human with everybody else, right? And sharing this more of this experience rather than going back and forth from this galactic family back to Earth experiences. And it became just, okay, you're just like everybody else now. Like, good luck. And then when I started going through my awakening process and awakening some of the abilities along with it and the remembrance, um, started having really profound experiences through that.
Wow. We're going to do a galactic series here on quantum conversations. So we're going to talk with you more in depth for that. And we're really looking forward to that. It's really remarkable. So, you were taken to Inner Earth with the Inner Earth beings, and you were helped healed there and with your galactic family. That's so remarkable. Did that happen on the energetic level, the etheric level? Or did you feel that you were physically there? Was it in your sleep or your dream time? How did that play out?
Physically there. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Because a lot of the times when I received healing from these beings, I was on the brink of death. So I had to be physically brought somewhere so that my body could be physically healed.
So you were on ships.
On ships, when it was Galactic Family,
Hmm.
there were a few times where it was actually interplanetary, but mostly ships. And then with Inner Earth, there weren't a lot of
Yeah.
ships happening there. Um,
And there's if people search on New Earth One Network for Beth Rachel in the search bar, you will find other presentations that we've done with you, conversations that we've had. It's really remarkable. I know that our audience is just thrilled by this. And so, um, what is it like now to be, I mean, are you still able to commune in that way? Are you still connected? Yes, right? You're still connected.
Still very connected. I don't go there physically anymore. Now it's more like, how you were originally asking. It's more on the astral, more remote viewing and astral projecting is how I visit with these beings now. Um, but still very much connected and still very much feel their support. And even more to that point, more and more of what has come through over the years has been really strengthening my connection with all of this has guided me into the soul of the planet, the heart of the planet, which really I believe I've been guided to, along with really connecting with the original Diamond Earth grid in remembrance of why Earth was originally built. And that was what brought me to a place of asking to be freed and released at age 15, was coming in contact with that energy and frequency and regaining that connection with my soul that reawakened me to why we're all really here, what this is really about. And it's not about war and fighting and winning and, the light and the dark and the struggle. That's part of what's happening, but it's not the true intention, right? The true intention is to really be able to come into harmony and experience that unity on a microcosmic level. So it's a challenge for all beings to come here because there's so much ego death that has to happen to really embrace the embodiment of unity, right? When we're with source, that's another kind of unity. We're just like, oh, we're infinite, part of the infinite, right? But when we come into these planetary creations like Earth here, it's an embodiment of that. So it's a different experience, and I think it's really, these kinds of experiences are meant to help us build more skills as beings, right? We're infinite beings that are existing to live and learn and experience, right? So it's just, I don't think anyone quite anticipated, well, maybe someone probably did anticipate the infiltration of darkness that we would have here. Um, but yeah.
Wow. Okay. It is that would be a whole different conversation where I want to go with so many of my questions for you. But again,
Yeah.
we will get there, and we've had conversations that are in our archives. Again, I just want to direct people to that. It's really fascinating. Thank you for sharing it. Thank you for being so brave and bold. And what I love, absolutely love about this is that it brought you to your soul. It brought you to your higher self. And so this is a journey. It could be a human journey. Where do you think that others have had these experiences, but we just aren't aware of it?
Absolutely, absolutely. In fact, that's a huge part of my clientele is
Wow.
people that start to realize, start to remember, and are like, who do I talk to about this? What do where do we go with this? If we think about it in a practical way, it's kind of impossible that we have so much of this going on this planet and more of us haven't personally been touched by it, right? Again, maybe not to the level that I have, but some portion of it, right? So either directly or indirectly, we're all being touched by it. And so it's a challenge for us all to really look at what's inside when we're ready, because pushing ourselves is not, everybody has their own divine timing and we can't push for these things to happen. But I do believe that is more of the direction that we're going. More of the star seeds, more of the light workers waking up to alchemize their shadow so that they can really, really embody their true purpose here, which is to bring the light and share their wisdom. So
That's so beautiful. So we are here, and I know that everyone watching can raise their hand and say, "Yes, I came in to do that." And so we know also that light workers take on such a heavy, heavy load of clearing. And so this brings us to energy boundaries and space clearing and what we do with it. So, how did you come into learning about this aspect of it? You've had to do it yourself, creating energy boundaries. Can you explain what that is, really what an energy boundary is?
yeah, it works in several different ways, right? And so we have our physical boundaries, which is like, I don't want to be touched, or I don't like the way that touch feels, or this conversation isn't working for me right now, or that timing doesn't work for me. Being able to set our schedule is even a physical boundary, right? Or our availability to someone. So all of that is working on an energetic level as well, right? In fact, one of the first ways we can start practicing energy boundaries is learning to say no. For so many sensitive souls, people pleasing is a really big thing, right? It's like we don't want to upset anybody. And a lot of that comes from trauma too, but even just just you're a sensitive soul, right? You don't want to upset anybody. You don't want to ruffle any feathers. You just, okay, I'll do this thing because, it's going to make you feel good. But so learning to say no, no is a very strong energetic frequency. It's like, no, there's no discussion beyond that, right? So it's very powerful. So it's a lot, can be a lot for someone to own if they haven't been owning their boundaries, right? All of a sudden they hear themselves say no. And it's like, whoa, what does that feel like? So practicing that. No, I don't want to do that. And not only can you say no, but you don't even have to give a reason.
That's what I was going to say. So many of us are like, what do I say? I'm
Yeah.
so sorry, but you just say, no, that's not possible.
Yeah. And it doesn't mean you're mean, doesn't you don't have to say it in a mean way. It's just, sometimes you need to say it in a firm way, right? Depending on what's going on. But it
Mhm.
doesn't have to be mean or rude or cruel. But we don't need to give a reason, and we can say it at any point in time. So we can say yes, and then we get partway through and we're like, actually, this is a no. You're allowed to change your mind, right? You're allowed to change your mind.
And so people like, so if I'm just thinking about that, and I know others are thinking about this too. Okay, so we're like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. One thing that I've learned recently in this healing series, that's why we have to slow it down a little bit because it's a lot to integrate. One thing that I've learned is like, I don't want to feel this way. I'm going to say no to those feelings. I don't want to feel this way. So for me, saying no to myself, that's empowering, right? No, I'm not going to feel that way. Or I'm going to look at these emotions and I'm going to deal with them. I'm going to shift them. I'm going to transform them. That's one thing. But when it comes with another person, a sister, a family member, a friend, a neighbor, I'm so sorry. No, it's not possible. Wow, that's like there's that people pleasing. It runs so deep in all of us, I'm certain. Do you have to say it in a nice way?
I mean, you
Like
can
what
say
do
it
you
however you want, right? But, eh, right, if I say it in an aggressive way, then there's going to be a certain response versus me
okay,
just really owning, like, no, that doesn't work for me.
I like that.
We can revisit it at a future time if that's something you want to do. And a lot of the stuff, and the reason why it's practice saying no, right, is because it's practice. And the more times we do it, the more we're like, oh, I actually don't need to say it in an aggressive way. I can be clear without being aggressive.
There you
Or especially for many who silence themselves for so long, right? It's like they're like no, like I just have to get it out, while I
it
can,
just bubbles over. It bubbles, boils
over.
over.
Exactly. So practice being
Okay.
kind to yourself while you're practicing. And, I think that you had an interesting point. Like, no, I don't want to feel this way. I'm not going to feel this way. And then you said, or I'm going to look at like what's going on that I feel this way. And I would say that is, uh, sometimes yes, sometimes we need to say no to certain ways that we see ourselves continuing a cycle, right? But I would say it's even more powerful if we can use that inner mirror to say, okay, what's going on that these feelings are coming up? And what do I need to shift and change so that this can be different? What needs to shift and change so that, because I want to feel like this.
Hmm.
So I think that that's a really powerful tool. So yeah, that first energy boundary can be no, that's not for me. And it's okay to say no, right? And in fact, an extension of that for that I share is one of the tools. So you've got going to get a whole list of tools if you sign up for this class, a list of descriptions of different energies you might come in contact with and tools that you can use to clear or cleanse the energy, right? So one of those tools is like if you've got really intense energy in your space and you don't know what it is, you can actually cross your arms, bring the forearms, bring them down. No, no, whatever this energy is, it's not welcome in my space. No. And you can do that in every direction. feel how powerful that is. Like, no, I'm claiming my space. So you don't even have to know what it is to do that. So just an extension of the no, right? And really embodying, uh-uh, right? Hard no, we would call that. That's a hard no. Um, so,
Is
and
that for entities? Is
it
that
can it can be for anything that you're feeling in your space and you're maybe not quite sure what it is. Maybe it's an entity,
okay?
maybe it's a psychic attack, maybe it's curse energy, maybe it's somebody trying to cord you, you
I,
know. Um, and
mhm.
and we will go into details about the kind of difference between all of these different ways that energy can get, tangled up, I would say, right? And one of the most popular things that there's a couple very popular things that we clear energetically, right? You see a lot of classes on cords and contracts, I would say, are some of the two most popular, right? And an energy cord is an interesting thing because you and I have cords going on right now because we're having energetic connection and communication, right? It's not necessarily an unhealthy thing. What would be unhealthy is we can discontinue our conversation and then you're feeling me still courting you afterward, right? It either, oh, okay, maybe Beth was still trying to say something and didn't finish saying it. Nevertheless, it's still my responsibility to collect my energy when the communication's done, right? Same with relationships. Oftentimes we have a partnership with somebody and the relationship ends, but one person's not ready to fully let go, right? That's when that cord becomes burdensome and it feels like a pull, right? Somebody can also hook us, which is like an attempt to cord, right? A cord is mutual. We want mutual connection. We have cords with our children, right? It helps us to kind of anticipate what our child's needs are. It's very normal as they get older. They're, not as thick or extensive because they don't need as much, right? But in the situation where maybe somebody wants to have that intimate connection with you, they may kind of come into your space and try to hook you right into having a cord with them and start kind of become an energy siphon, right? That's one of the things that like energy vampires do. So we also talk about how to clear these energies and how to see them coming. That's the other thing, and really start trusting your intuition because a lot of times we're like, oh, the vibe over there is kind of funky, but we go in anyway, right? This is another like not respecting our no because really we should probably like walk all the way around that situation, right? So learning how to listen to our intuition when it doesn't feel right is a big part of energy boundaries. Um, but not to worry if we don't, we can always clear stuff. There's no time limit on that because it comes back to free will, because it comes back to sovereignty, because it comes back to I always have that pure connection with source. And that's another thing we cover is like each and every one of us is our own pillar of light. And we each have equal and complete connection to source energy. And this pillar is our own, right? And that can be that visualization, like everybody has their own pillar, can be really helpful for people who are incredibly empathic or who've been people pleasers, right? Because all of a sudden it's very clear, like, oh, you're your own individual. You're your own individual. Like, and okay, I'm just going to feel my feelings and you can have yours and you can have yours. So that visualization is really helpful for that first step of individuating.
Wow. Okay, you've said a lot there, and it makes us each look back at relationships that we've got and things going on. And so, how would you, okay, so like hooks and cords, and
Yeah.
then clearing those hooks and cords. I can sense there's a question about relationships. So, like, if you, let's say a romantic relationship, if you're involved with someone and maybe you're looking back and you're like, in the beginning, like one person was really into the other person, but the other person was like, meh, right? could that have been like a hook sort of a experience? And then and so then if you're trying to get rid of that hook or the cord, but you still want to be friends or, romantic lovers, partners, would that destroy the relationship? Or can everyone still get along with all of that?
Right. I think you can, well, I think that some deeper questions have to be asked at that point, right? If you want to clear the cord and you're kind of feeling pulled on by this person, why do you also want to be in a close relationship with them, right? Is that the healthiest thing for you? Or is there maybe a little bit more of exercising your no that needs to happen there and finding that healthy balance, right? Um, so there's a little bit of like, okay, what, but I mean, you can absolutely, so say you're in a close partnership with someone, um, you're in a intimate relationship for, 5 years, right? There's going to be cords, probably a heart cord, probably a second chakra cord, um, probably also with a lot of these long-term relationships, and intimate relationships, soul fragments kind of can get lost. And so we will also go over how to recall that as well and how to do cleansing and clearing from sexual interactions and from soul fragments lost in trauma or in intimate relationships. Um, but let's say I'm in this long-term relationship and I clear my cords, right? So there's a way to bring this relationship into present time, right? But there needs to be some I would say verbal communication about it, right? So there's an agreement, like, hey, it doesn't have to be I cleared the cords from you. I mean, it can be just, I want to remain friends with you. And in the past, we've kind of operated in this way because we've had a different level of intimacy. And now I think it might look more like this. Do you feel the same? Are we in agreement about that? Right. Because otherwise, if we don't have that conversation, the other person will probably keep operating unconsciously in the same way. So they'll keep looking to reestablish the cord and we'll have to keep clearing it. Right. Versus, oh, we're in agreement. And then you clear the energy and it's like, oh, okay. You know,
Communication then is really key with the other person. And I love what you said about seeing that we are all in our own pillar of light. That's very empowering. So, okay, communication is key.
in
Can't.
those intimate relationships, absolutely. Yeah.
Mm,
In
mhm.
those circumstances, I would say completely. In circumstances where it's not about an intimate relationship, and it's walking into a room and picking up energy from the room, that's something that can just be cleared. We don't need to have communication about it, or something comes
Okay.
into your room that just needs to be cleared. Don't need to have communication about it, can just clear it. Things like entities or, you know, heavier, kind of darker energies, we don't need permission to clear, even if they're not in our space, right? If you see some dark energy over your friend's shoulder, that can just be cleared. You don't need permission. Now, if your friend has some contract to with that entity to let it back in its space for whatever reason or agreement on some level, it may come back, right? That's up to your friend to deal with that part of it. But while your friend's at your house, it's not there because you're not allowing it in your house, right? So that's an energy boundary, where they can have their own relationship with that energy, and you can have your boundaries within your home. Like that's not allowed in my home, right?
It's being very aware. It's being immaculate with our energy. It's being very aware of our light, right? And so that is a level of mastery. That's a level of mastery. And so you're using energy clearing and techniques to maintain that light level in a sovereign way. So let's talk about ways that other cultures have used energy clearing and techniques because um, why am I thinking about entities? And in Asia, they have the ghost houses. They have
Hmm.
houses where they're respecting the ancestors, or in Taiwan or even in Bali, they put out offerings to their ancestors. Is this what we're talking about, or what can we expect?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely, that can be part of it. You know, even with ancestors, sometimes they're supportive. And sometimes they don't want to see the next generation break through what they couldn't, right? Sometimes they're holding you back. Hopefully, they're supportive. So you may also need a boundary there that it's like, okay, the supportive ancestors, I'm going to honor them. I'm going to call upon them. And you know the difference because you feel uplifted when those
Yeah.
are around you versus feeling pulled down, right? So many cultures call upon their ancestors and have ways of accessing them, like you talked about. Um, and then there's many ways that uh, cultures have used different resources to clear energy, right? So I have a couple things around me. So like this is a sage stick. I think we're all probably pretty familiar with that, right? Um, use we light it and use the smoke to cleanse and clear energy, right? And there are, I mean, numerous things that get burnt throughout different countries. Sage is just one we use in North America. Sweetgrass is actually one that is used to call in more positive energy than it is to clear out. Copal is used a lot in South America. Frankincense, myrrh, these are even talked about in the Bible. Another thing, used through the Bible is like baptism, cleansing through water, purifying through water. It doesn't have to be religious, right? None of these things have to be religious, but we're talking about culture and how things have been handed down. So baptism is actually in many different cultures that's not necessarily related to the Catholicism, but the cleansing and purifying with water to wash away, right? Wash away what we're carrying that's no longer serving us. It's symbolic of that. Um, Sound tools music has been used for a really long time. I have some tangas here from Tibet, right? It's an example of clearing energy in a little Tibetan bowl here. Both ways of using sound to clear. The tongas are traditionally used 3 times to clear. Behind me, I specifically sat here today so you can see some of the things behind me. There's some crystals. Crystals are used to conduct energy, so they can be used for clearing, right? And also can collect energy. So some people will even make crystal grids, and these are, I mean, we know crystals have been used beyond documented history, right, for cleaning and clearing energy. They themselves will collect energy, and it's good to also clean them either with salts or bathing in the full moon or burying in the earth or asking source to do it. Um, you can see there's looks like some like wicker almost on the left. This is a plant from South America called Chicapi, which is just a very positive, uplifting, beautiful plant that just cleans energy. They use it to just you just move it around, it just cleans energy. Um, a lot of cultures do flower baths. And that's been a very ancient way to bring, so you can bring in, right, the energy that those flowers hold, that the plant spirits hold within those flowers to help cleanse and clear, right, what's happening on your body and through your skin and wash away again. Um, what are some other ones? Oh, dream catchers. I don't have one here right now, but uh, don't really even need to say it right, to catch dreams or catch thoughts, detrimental thoughts or dreams or projections sometimes even. from that astral space. They were designed to catch those. Um, and then different mandalas are drawn to cleanse and clear energy and to bring in open gateways, right, for positive energy to come in,
It's
supportive.
really creating, when we talk about creating sacred space, that's what we're doing. We're creating sacred space with
Yes.
clearing.
Yeah. Well, and so there's all these, so I want to bring that in because I want people to be aware that like this has always been right. And then we have physical practices like yoga and qigong, and all of that is to keep the energy flowing through our bodies,
Mhm.
right? Because tension and stress kind of make us contract, and then we get these stuck points, right? So we want to keep it flowing. But there's also like really practical things that we can do to keep our space clear, other than saying no and getting space or avoiding. We can take just even taking a step back when you're having a conversation with somebody and it's kind of intense. Just take one step back, right? All of a sudden, there's more space in between you. And all of a sudden, you don't feel quite so captivated or captured by that person in that conversation, right? Um, Certain sprays you can carry, like with the sage, there's sage spray, there's smudge spray, Palo Santo spray. You can carry that in your purse. Um, Flower essences, something you can carry in your purse to instantly change the vibration, or essential oils. Another one you can carry in your purse or your pocket if you're a gentleman, stones you can carry in the pockets. And you can also do things like tapping on your body to loosen up uh, this no that I showed. So embodied practices, right? You can brush the aura to keep the energy moving, kind of zip up, or like clear out anybody else's stuff, right? It's kind of fun to use the hands and it's more embodied. You can also fluff the aura, which is like, bringing in more joyful energy and calling that in from source and calling that in from the earth. And so there's there's the clearing out that helps create the boundaries. And then there's also, well, what do I want to bring in? There's the calling in, of support that sometimes we want to do too, and asking for blessings and expressing gratitude. So one thing I talk about in the course is prayer, and I give like a little, fill in the blank prayer, because um, prayer is such a big way that we can call into our life. It's really acting upon that I am part of source energy, right? I'm grateful for what I have in my life, and I could use a little extra support with, X, Y, and Z. Thank you. Thank you. You know.
Wow. Okay. Well, this is very interesting and it's very empowering. It really is because no matter how we're feeling, there's so many tools that we can use. So it's us to recognize when our feelings are making us, are requiring us to clear something and shift that energy. So tell us about this course because it is a full spectrum course of energy clearing tools.
Yes, 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 yes. So we will go over tools. I've mentioned some of the more ancient tools which you can incorporate in with modern day practices like carrying things in your purse, learning how to recognize certain energies and what binds them or sticks them to us, and how to clear them out. So talking about these different tools, talking about the different energies, and choosing what's going to work best for me to clear this, right? What do I want to do to clear this right now? And some of the biggest things also we talk about are learning to develop um, our energy awareness through meditation, taking doing some daily practices, and I offer that in the course as well. Like, what are some daily practices to build my awareness of energy, to help clear my mind, right? So there's some mind clearing practices in there. There's some awareness building practices in here, and um, I almost want to pull this up so we can look at a few more, but tools for building, right? And continuing the practice that can be, you can either do like just a few, you can do a few more. And then things that are more helpful for immediate situations where we're really feeling kind of infringed upon. Um, so that there is a full spectrum, and we are able to stop just for a second. Can you still see me okay?
Yes, yes, take your time and do that. I know for those who are watching, I'm going to direct everyone down on this webpage, and there's a full list of beautiful
And there's
uh,
even
tools.
more. Yeah, so that's just kind of like a snippet. So some key points, some keynotes which are in the course material. So there's 18 pages of course material. I don't say that to overwhelm you, but I say that so that you know that you have a lot of supportive information. But on the live calls, we're going to go over all of it, and then you get to keep this to have access, right? So a few key points to building our boundaries is knowing that where our mind goes, our consciousness goes, our energy goes. So, like, if I'm thinking of my ex boyfriend, then part of my energy is going over there, and vice versa. If I think of Machu Picchu, some of my energy is going to go there. Not all of it, right? And this isn't bad or good, but this is part of the just building awareness aspect. And meditation helps us to do that. So, having a daily practice where we can get into a quiet space and learning how to clear our thoughts, right? Learning how to clear our mind, and knowing that we can pick up energy in the form of thoughts, vibrations, feelings, and frequencies as we walk in the world and we're interacting. I like to think of it like there's a sea of energy and we are part of it. And sometimes we can get like a wake, right? As if like when you're in the sea and a boat goes by, or maybe a whale, right? And you whoosh, okay. So we don't want to hold on to that. We want to be able to identify that came from there, right? And how it affected us, but that we can also let it go, right? And then another tool we talk about is developing a self scan so that we can scan our space like there's a big hula hoop around us every morning when we're in our meditation, maybe every other day, whenever you want to do it. And you just kind of get like a scan within that hula hoop of what does my space look like? What does my space feel like? And go all the way down. So that way, as you're doing it every day, it's easier to see like, oh, there's something in here that doesn't quite feel like me. Maybe I want to know what it is. Maybe I don't. Maybe I just want to clear it. Right. And then this idea, this sense, this knowing that we're a part of everything and creation acts as a mirror. So there's always an opportunity to look inside and ask, why is this showing up for me? We can clear it and still ask, why is this showing up for me? What within me needs to be cleared so that I'm not no longer attracting this in my life, right? And then um, utilizing our physical bodies is another way that we really claim our space. So the more physical we are, the more embodied we are, the more our space is our own. So calling upon physical practices that you like, especially ones that involve some type of energy awareness like yoga, qigong, tai chi, some traditional dances, and then cultivating prayer into our lives is another really big uh, tool. It's learning to access that infinite power within us that's connected to the infinite of source, which is that sovereignty, which is that free will, which is that co-creative power and ability. So those are some key points that we'll go over. And then, like I said, there's really like a breakdown of different energies and tools and how they come together, right? So which tools might work best for different energies, and understanding also that Really, we come into um, different energies because there's something, right? There's something often to clear out. Doesn't mean that it's going to be a direct thing. If I see a demon, it doesn't mean that there's a demon in me, right? It might mean that like uh, I need to work on my boundaries around darkness, or I feel like everything needs compassion, so I'm letting that in, or there's a lot of different options there of what that means.
Wow, it's really comprehensive. It goes over so many feelings and sensations. And really, I just think of all the people who are not aware that there's anything wrong with them. I mean, of course, people watching this show are have been doing the work and have been going on the journey, but our loved ones and other family members and even people in the general collective may not even know that this is going on. So this is master level stuff to begin to learn how we are affected. Going to the grocery store, right? And we could be in a bad mood because someone else. And so recognizing that, or one thing that I've noticed recently on the family line, genetics is one thing that I've been paying a lot of attention to, seeing the way that I respond to certain situations. And then my cousin or another sibling will respond in the same way. That's genetic, right? So this is
Yeah.
all, we're building our awareness on this stuff.
Yes, yes. And we can also inherit, genetic beliefs, genetic curses, um, right? All kinds of things that we can, perspectives and ways of seeing things that get handed down to us. So, but they can be cleared. It all can be cleared, right? And the shiny, right? The other way I like to think of it is it's like the more and more of my own clearing I'm doing, even if it's difficult, I'm getting shinier and shinier, right? And so is everybody else who's doing their work, and then the light reflects. So then we're reflecting more light onto the earth. So that's another way we can think of it, because it is challenging, it is hard, it's not always fun. But laughter is another tool that I put in there. Laughter and humor are tools for clearing energy that I think uh, are definitely worth mentioning and not forgetting that being able to laugh and find humor, if it's genuine, obviously, we don't want to force ourselves, when we're sad, feel our sad feelings. But when we can take a moment to have a little perspective and laugh about the ridiculousness of something, then please do it, please enjoy that, and the the brevity that brings, right, to life and to the situation. And it's an important tool as well. And it's on the list, guys.
Well, this is beautiful. And there's also a personal session with you. We can talk about that in a moment and what goes on there. But you know what, Beth? I really want to, can you lead us on a short little meditation and a clearing process, a little technique on how we can scan? You mentioned the body scan or the self scan. Can we do a little bit of that and then maybe see what comes up for each of us and then clear that? How, how would we move through that? Can we do something like that very quickly?
Yeah, we can. And as you know, I like to start everything with our source connection. So with breath and feeling our body, but then connecting with source and bringing that energy in. So I invite everyone to close their eyes, bring their awareness inward, and bring the awareness to that breath. And let yourself feel your body for a moment. And then envision, if you will, an infinite point of brilliant white light high above your head. Envision that this white light comes down through your higher levels of consciousness, all the way through your body into the center of the earth. And then let this be a pillar of light, like if you ever watch Star Trek, beam me up, Scotty, like you're standing in that beam, right? From source all the way into the pillar, the center of the planet. And you can make that pillar wide. It can be not just around your body, but out into your space. And then what I was talking about with the hula hoop, right, is that now you've got your pillar, you can picture this hoop starting above your head and being about as wide as this pillar, maybe now, as wide as your aura, and slowly moving down. And as it does, it's showing you the energy in your field and in your body. You may just feel this. You may see it if you're a visual person, and you're able to use the hoop to see 360 degrees all the way around. Right, so maybe you see, and it's slowly moving down, as slow as you need it to. Take your time. You may see a little cloudy area, um, maybe a little something that's a little darker. Maybe you can see the actual layers of your aura. Maybe you see it all one color. Maybe you see something that looks like a cord or hook. Sometimes we see kind of like a dark black kind of cloud. Sometimes it's more gray. This can sometimes be projections from other people. Sometimes we see different colors in our space, which could be thought forms, could be energies being given by guides or ancestors. So let this hoop make it all the way down to your feet. Your pillar is connected into the center of the planet, but we're just going to take the hoop down to the feet. So you're just scanning your physical body and the space directly around the physical body. And the way that we're going to clear right now is we're going to use prayer because it is the most direct and quickest, right, way to clear energy. So you can first, however you like to address source energy. Source, I always like to say my thank yous first. I learned this from Native American traditions. You don't have to do that, but I think opening up our gratitude first opens us up to more receiving. We can acknowledge what we have. So thank you, Source, for showing me my space today, for showing me what energies are in my body, in my space that are supporting me, showing me what energies are intruding upon or dragging me down. And I ask that you please clear these ones for me now. Thank you. Just allow yourself to feel or see or hear how whatever sense is strongest for you. Allow yourself to experience this clearing. If you did notice any cords and you are aware that that extends to a specific person, you can ask that that energy be sent back to them and yours to you, but let both be rinsed in sources, energy and light first. So you don't get any fragments of the other person and they don't get any of yours. When that's feeling complete, you can slowly and gently open your eyes. Yeah. And so another way to do that that's kind of fun, it's a little more embodied, is you can ask Source to really activate your hands. You can ask Inner Earth to activate your hands. And you can you can actually just kind of pull the stuff out and lift it to source. If you ever went to a psychic fair, right, you have psychics that doing the aura cleaning and clearing, so you can do this for a friend, right? And then you can kind of do the brushing or fluffing afterward too. Um, but asking source to really light the hands so that it's not coming from you.
Wow, thank you, thank you, thank you for this. What a very powerful and effective tool, and it's so helpful and needed and necessary and beneficial at this time. With what's going on in the collective, it can get crazy. And you've helped us see where just our thoughts, it can get out there, or other people's thoughts. That's what I really felt in that. I felt some, I mean, that was very helpful. And so if we do this every day, several times a day, we're going to be clean. I feel so much lighter already. I feel liberated.
Yeah.
And so, can we imagine the empowerment that we have just by using these simple tools, being immaculately aware of our energy? Thank you so much for this, really. And thank you, everyone, for using this daily in your life. I encourage you to use these tips, use these tools. Sign up for Beth Rachel's class. This is going to go over all of these. Is this one single webinar?
We're going to do 4 weeks, 1 hour a week for 4 weeks on Tuesdays, starting on the 10th, September.
Nice. Okay, beautiful. Well, imagine 4 weeks of learning these very powerful skills. That week to integrate is very helpful as well. And you're just going to be a master at clearing energy, setting energy boundaries, and clearing your field. Okay. And it's such a wide breadth of ways that our energy can be affected, some really deep things, but yet some even innocuous things that we might not even think are ours, and it's not ours, but yet it's still affecting us. So again, it's very beneficial, especially with what's going on in the collective. I have to say that one more time. And so stay clear and clean, everyone, and use these tools. We hope that you sign up with Beth's class so that you can learn all of those tools. And then for the heavy lifting, one-on-one sessions are extremely beneficial. Tell us a little bit about what happens in those.
Yeah, so it's actually perfect timing because something I was going to say about the daily clearing, right, is that if we notice the same thing every day, that's where the inner work comes in, right? So let's say I'm noticing the same cloudy energy or the same that I always have projections from this particular ex partner. Um, but it's whatever it is, it's repetitive, right? That's where the one-on work, that's one-on-one work, the mirror work comes in because that's when we start asking what within me is allowing this to continue to come in. And it doesn't mean anything's bad or wrong. That's just the work of that's just our spiritual work, right? So maybe it's some beliefs, maybe it is some unconscious contracts, maybe it's some unresolved emotions, right? So that's what we do in the one-on-one work is we work through the source connection. Source holds the space. We work with earth holding the space, and we clear on the unconscious level the things that are continuing to attract, right, this patterning and gunking up kind of our space. um, yeah, through embodiment practices, through somatic practices, through subconscious belief clearing, frequency downloads. Sometimes there's light language clearing that comes in and activations as well, depending on what we're working on, right? But the idea behind the individual sessions is to clear out whatever might be blocking your soul from landing more firmly in your body on this planet and really doing the work you came here to do.
Thank you for facilitating those sessions with everyone. I know that this is deep work. It's deep work, and yes, we can do it on our own. We can come to a course and learn the tools and the methods. That's really helpful. but yet there's always ways that we can have an outside person look and assist us with some of the deeper heavy lifting. So thank you, thank you, thank you for that. And I want to say, what an affordable price for all of this. The personal session is the cream of the crop. It's the gem of it all. But then the tools that go with the course are extremely helpful as well. So thank you for that. Again, register for this, get signed up. We are excited for it. Your life in 4 sessions after these classes will definitely be shifted, and you will be more empowered and crystal clear and sparkly, ready to get your game on and your new earth living solidly in this divine way. So thank you for that, Beth. I want to invite our audience to look at the link in the description box where you're watching this video, or on the webpage that got you here. It's all there for you. Wow, I feel really good, and our task is at hand now. We are the ones who can do this for ourselves. And so happy clearing, everyone. Happy boundaries and happy clearing. Beth, as we say goodbye, any final thoughts or, yeah, final thoughts for these times that we're in and how important this work is?
My final thoughts are we want to empower ourselves as much as possible. And I feel that this course is a really strong foundational piece in that direction in support of that. Really bringing the self into more empowerment. And again, it can go from that very practical stage in taking us further into our spiritual development as well. But now's the time to really take radical responsibility for our own evolution, each and every one of us.
Radical responsibility. I love it. And we are getting it. We're on it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Feels so good. Awesome. Thank you so much, Beth. This has been a joy to be with you, and we have shifted. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you for listening to this quantum conversation, and thank you for dancing with us to the cosmic heart. As we raise our own vibration, we raise the vibration of the planet. This show is dedicated to you and all awakening hearts, as we are here to shine our bright light and amplify our love. I'm Loren Gailey, and from my sacred heart to yours, I honor your magnificent love and light. This has been a presentation of New Earth One Network, your home for New Earth living. Access information, education, and videos on living from the heart in unity consciousness. Visit newearth1.com.